Welcome back. Deck Hockey Focus here, checking in with you again. Flanked by my wonderful co-star, Ryan Shackelford. Great to have you back, buddy.
Yeah, it's good to be back. It was a long week away, but, happy to be back in the studio here and, catching up on everything.
Yeah, well, we've got some catching up to do. ISBHF World Championships officially over. We've seen some wins, we've seen some losses, we've seen some goals, and we've seen some great saves, but let's run through everything that we've had so far, starting with the men's.
Yeah, let's start from the men. When we kind of left things on our last episode, it was coming off that qualifying win against Hong Kong.
Right.
A big win. I'm going to call it a momentum builder just based on the quantity of goals scored and,
Absolutely.
be able to get the legs going and that confidence back. But we saw him face off against Canada, what you're seeing on the screen here in the quarterfinals. You see
the offensive productivity still. We were worried that they might be a little bit sluggish coming off of what maybe is not the most competitive game in the world. But we see them answer there quickly against Canada that went up 1-0 early. We tie it up, and then there's the go-ahead moving into the second period here. We're looking pretty solid, but Canada is definitely no slouch of a team.
Canada's Canada. If they're known for one thing, that's hockey. And
here we got Wes McCauley calling the review as a goal there.
You have to appreciate the enthusiasm by the refs. But again, this is just a banger of a game. A lot of, you just saw the physical play right there, but guys recovering, keeping their heads up and just wanting to keep driving to the net. And that's kind of where Canada stretched out to get this empty netter here, but a hard-fought battle for the United States.
And I thought that go-ahead goal from Canada was a bit of a lucky one. I mean, you saw the guy, they got tied up in front, and the guy went down on his butt, and the rebound just happened to find his stick at the right time. So, I mean, nothing you can really do on a fluke play like that. And then, like you said, they chip in the empty netter there, but definitely played Canada pretty even every step of the way, boys. So we're proud of you there despite the outcome.
Yeah, so what happens after that quarterfinal is this. If you're not used to the international play at this level, it's kind of a different strategy or a different conclusion than your typical tournament. So, you're playing in the medal round, you lose, you're out, right? That's how it typically goes. Here, that's not the case. And I think we talked to Nick Carter a couple weeks ago, and he was explaining from 2 years ago how they had to, keep their game going to play for the seeding rounds. And that's actually what happens in these tournaments. So once you're knocked out of the medal round, you still have to come and bring your A game because that's going to influence and impact your seeding for next tournaments. Yeah. And in some cases, maybe an invite back based on how that lands.
Yeah.
So after the Canada loss, the United States then goes into what I think the tournament was called the 5 through 8 quarterfinals. And effectively what they're now doing is they're playing for who's going to get that 5, 6, 7, and 8 seed.
Exactly.
Which we saw them then face off against Italy.
Yeah. And the Italians, I mean, we hadn't really had a chance to see them. I think they were in the other bracket. And then, going up against us, I'm sure this was definitely not a card that they wanted to draw. We come out there, in the first 30 seconds and chip one in.
Exactly.
So I think that we were still running on adrenaline from that Canadian game. You see us going up here 2-0 real early. But then as the theme has been all weekend here with the power plays, long bomb through a screen there, not a whole lot you can do. But this was certainly a great game, and there were tons of penalties on the board, what I was just going to say. So you look up here as they chip in another one on what I think is maybe 4-on-3.
Yeah, that was a 4-on-3, which is not that typical from the 5-on-5 game here. But honestly, I'm just going to be honest, and that's one of my takeaways for this tournament is the quantity or quality of our penalty kill and how much we were on it.
Yeah.
I think from just watching these games, there's less of a physical factor that we're that we typically see and expect. And I don't know if that, kind of mistranslated for people or the refs were just calling tighter games. But, we saw a lot of penalties and a lot of penalty kill time.
Well, and here you go, 5-on-3. There's another goal to put it within one.
Exactly. But and I'm not devaluing USA's play. That went both ways. We just saw a goal on 5-on-3. So the United States actually came out with the first 2 goals quick, right? Yeah. They had 2 goals in the first 2.5 minutes, I think. But then it started to go all Italy. They scored 4 unanswered. The United States had to battle back, which I think it shows some resiliency and resolve.
Exactly.
That they weren't there to, hey, we're behind. We're only playing for seeding anymore. It's no, these are important games. And you saw those leaders and the veterans in that room with, Johnny Ruiz and Denny Schlegel both getting goals in that game. Unfortunately, an overtime loss.
Yeah, and the shots, you saw them there just a minute ago. We had 30 to their 16.
Yeah.
So we were not, stifled offensively by any means. And I thought the last goal that they put in was not necessarily the strongest. I think it was a little bit of a lucky bounce on their part. So unfortunate bounces are kind of the theme for the United States, but I thought we looked really solid. And like you said, boosting forward with the young talent that we've got bringing in addition to the leadership. I think we've got in years to come a pretty strong USA team on the men's side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we'll get into that in a second as we close out the men's. But so after this loss, again, you're not out of the tournament yet. You're still playing for something. And that, in this particular case, was the 7th or 8th seed going into 2021, where the United States matched up against Greece. You want to take it?
Yeah, and then, I mean, obviously the Greece team, we had played them in years past, and I think we may have had a bit of a chip on our shoulder after maybe some of the bad bounces and things. You see us coming out and scoring again first. And then, I mean, obviously, like we'd said, the special teams is where teams are living and dying. When you've got that extra man, if you've got the systems in place to score those big goals and, if you put a man in the box, the chances of getting one in the net is pretty high. And we've seen that for us. We've seen that as well for them. But a pretty big hype goal here, which was nice to see.
Absolutely. And this is kind of where the United States just kind of took it over. Greece does pop another one here in a couple seconds, but nothing to be outspoken. We talked a little bit about kind of the leadership and coming in, and I think you had talked with Mike DeFazio and Corey on a previous episode about this wasn't necessarily a reset year, but this was a youth movement. Let's get the kids the experience. Let's invest in the time and the growth. And that's what we saw from this tournament. So you had, we've mentioned the names how many times, Ruiz and Schlegel and all those guys who were kind of taking the lead coming through this tournament, scoring goals with the assists. But then you see like Jordan Albright in this game come through with a hat trick.
Yeah, tearing it up.
So I think some of that veteran leadership you had, I think there's 8 new newcomers for Team USA coming here. But I think as you saw this tournament unfold, you saw a lot of those kids and the youth here kind of evolve and grow and then really capitalize on their opportunities.
Yeah.
So again, the United States, wrapping this one up here to get that last goal 6-2 with about 30 seconds left. But that really closed it out for the men in this tournament. They, taking the 7th seed, which will parlay into the next World Tournament, which I believe is 2021. But again, some big names we talked about there. Albright with his hat trick. Kind of that growth of the tournament. But then Ruiz and Denny Schlegel on the assist line. So that matchup and how those leaders led is kind of shows through resiliency through those where they played every game tight.
Absolutely.
Not necessarily the outcome everybody wanted, but a lot of learning and a lot of opportunity.
Well, I think the positive takeaways even are the play against the top level teams.
Yeah.
We played hard against Finland. We played hard against Slovakia. We played hard against Canada. All of those games could have gone either way.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not the result that we wanted, but if you take it on a shift by shift basis, I think that the United States can play with any team in the entire world.
You saw that in the round 1 against Slovakia. What was it, 2-1? In that loss, it was a late goal for Slovakia. Overtime, maybe. I'm honestly not sure. I was traveling at the time. I was a little sleepy.
He's not off though. You're right.
But rounding that out, the Slovaks actually did take that tournament.
Yeah.
They were playing on their home court. And if you know anything about the Slovaks and ball hockey, they live that. And if you were checking online and some of the Facebook lives that were happening, they packed that arena. It was actually awesome to see. They actually beat Finland, who took home the silver, and then Canada ended up taking the bronze.
And Finland, kind of the unsung hero of the tournament. I mean, nobody's making waves about them or anything. And they put on a clinic.
Yeah. No, they were a great team. They had great goaltending, great defense. They played more of that traditional, I think, Finnish, Swedish style that you see. That's more, speed and breakouts and,
They're fun to watch.
Just kind of go playing end to end. Where I think some of the Eastern European teams and the North American teams are playing that more traditional style.
Yeah.
So I think that might have offset or upset kind of game plans. But congratulations to, again, Slovakia. Interesting enough, ties Canada for the most wins on the international stage this year. They won it last year, they won it the year before and the year before. So they're accustomed to winning.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Team Slovakia taking the gold. The Finns surprising a lot of people, coming home with the silver, and then the Canadians taking home that bronze.
It's going to be a very competitive tournament moving forward.
I like it.
But moving forward to the women's side of things, we had a little bit more to cheer for there.
Yeah, no, I think the women coming into this tournament, we talked to a handful of their players and some of their leadership and how they were preparing and playing. When we talked to Becky, that was her first chance there, and taking home that gold for her was exciting, but a little disappointing for the veterans. So let's just see how this shook out. So right now coming into pool play, not pool play, I'm sorry, the medal round, kind of
the reseeding or whatever
Exactly.
you want to call it. It's still really complicated. We'll get you guys a flow chart at some point, but we had seen the USA against Slovakia go into that OT game and fall short.
Yeah.
So I thought we had a chip on our shoulder. We had a couple of hard battles against Canada that didn't go our way, and I thought that we had a lot of screws to tighten up play-wise. But then we come out early, we get a big one, and then that backdoor pass, I think that was not supposed to go to that girl.
No.
I think that was a pass meant to either go to the net or go to the other girl, and it just happened to find a good stick there. And you know what? She bangs it home.
Yeah.
So make the most out of that scenario. But
yeah, what I think we saw from the Americans, just backing that up though, was Becky Dobson on that first goal, and hey, there she is again, getting to the net, causing chaos, disrupting vision, and right there, overtime.
Yeah, and getting a little bit of payback there because they got us, early on. I think it was 4-3, something like that.
It was a tight game, but
and it's nice to see our girls come out on that one. And I think the main difference that we saw in that game versus maybe some in the Canadian game was we were dictating the play. We were anticipating. We weren't being reactive. We were making them play against us rather than us trying to stop them. Yeah. And I think that once we can dictate the pace of play, we're a force to be reckoned with.
It's like anything. You want the other team to adjust to you. You
Exactly.
don't want to adjust to them. And I think the Americans came out hot in that game, ready to play.
Right.
But the significance of that game is that brought Team USA back to the gold medal game.
Second and here we go. They're playing against Canada for the third time.
Yeah. So prior to this game, the United States have actually played against Canada in the round robin, and coming into this, and they went 0-2 against Canada.
And again, we come out and score first, and I'm getting excited, but I don't want to get let down because I've been heartbroken in the past, ladies. But that one there, that was a tapper, a little defensive breakdown, but we played them every single step of the way. This one, a little bit of a fluker.
Yeah, that's
nothing you can really do on that one. That just squeaked.
But again, coming up, 0-2 against Canada coming in, and I'm going to be honest, there's a couple plays like that in the first goal that kind of cost them games early on.
Letting somebody get loose a little bit.
Yep. I don't know if we're necessarily ball watching or watching the play, but we did have a couple defensive breakdowns. And when you play at the international stage and against a team like Team Canada, those. And even Slovakia or, the Czech Republic for that matter, that's when you capitalize.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw. So the United States actually brought that back, tied that up. We saw that a second ago. Mm-hmm. But then Canada kind of took it over from there.
Yeah, and they did. And we saw that on the power play. And when you've played a team 3 games within the span of 4 days, something like that. It becomes such an interesting thing because you see such repetitive matchups. You're taking faceoffs against the same person for the 100th time.
Watching game tape gets a little easier.
Here comes their power play again, and we know who they're trying to key on. Mm-hmm. And it's just what a great rivalry. And despite the women, I guess falling short, if you want to call a silver medal.
Yeah.
Falling short, but it would be nice to see us take Canada's number there. But if you're going to lose, you're losing to potentially the best team in the world. So
absolutely,
I'll take that any day.
Of course, but what I think at the end result here, obviously, I think we've talked about it offline. Silver medal being probably the dirtiest medal in sports.
Yeah,
right?
It feels gross.
It's a huge accomplishment.
Feels gross for about a week, and then you look back and you think, okay, how did we get here?
It comes at the heels of a loss, but it's the silver medal. You're the second best team in the world, and that's the United States going back to back there.
Yeah, that's huge. That's consistency for the program. That means now I think we can truly say gold medal is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter. And the structure that they have in place and the players they have and the players that they're developing are clearly, at that caliber to not just necessarily compete, but to be a juggernaut on the world stage. And, huge success there, even though it's the silver. Everybody wanted the gold, but that's okay. That's a great accomplishment across the board.
Add one into the cabinet there. I'll take it.
Absolutely.
I'll take that silver medal all day long.
Absolutely. So congratulations, Team Canada, for taking home the gold. The United States there with silver, and then the Czechs, taking home the bronze.
God, what a tournament, though.
Absolutely. It was a great week.
Seriously, I can't wait. I can't believe we have to do it every 2 years. I mean, it seems like it should be a lot sooner than that, but I guess that's what makes it so special. So we'll see what's to come for both Team USA, for men's and for women's. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for us here at Deck Hockey Focus.
Well,
want to thank a lot of people. I mean, honestly, guys, this whole thing here, we could not do without the support of everyone on the teams that communicates with us, comes on for some of these interviews and things, everybody that's helping us out with. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, whether it be the coaching staff for either team, the captains on the teams, the women on site, the guys at EBHL.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm going to name drop a few, and if I forget you, I'm sorry. There's just so many, as Mock was saying, the guys from EBHL out in Jersey who are working with us hand in hand on a lot of things you saw today. Obviously, Mike DeFazio, the general manager of USA, Corey Hirsch, the head coach, Jason Kelly for the women's team, and about 10 other people. I apologize for not bringing you up, but definitely appreciate the coordination, the involvement. We're able to do everything we can here because of their assistance over in Slovakia. So definitely appreciate that. Keep looking forward, though. Team USA is not quite over yet.
Yeah, so we have 3-on-3 juniors coming up in Montreal. That's next week, or
Yep, starts next week, so we get a couple days off. But U19 and U17 3-on-3 men are going to be heading up to Montreal probably about right now to keep that red, white, and blue streak going there and hopefully bring home some medals. So stay tuned. We'll be connected with those guys. Bringing you everything that happens up there. So
yeah, guys, don't forget our YouTube channel, Deck Hockey Focus. If you subscribe there, as soon as these episodes come out, as soon as there's something, you'll get those notifications and you'll never miss a minute of content. We do appreciate everybody who's been liking and sharing and stuff on Facebook. Don't forget us on Twitter at Deck Hockey Focus there, where we try to live tweet all the games that we can if they're not at 3 a.m. But really appreciate everybody coming out and supporting us. We just do it for the love of the game and because we love the country. So any support is so greatly appreciated, and we will see you guys coming 3-on-3 next week with the juniors. Stay tuned.
Yep. Thanks all.